Hi, so I have been feeling quite stressed and I wanted to release my stress by buying some books. But now I feel more stressed out because I have so many books I want to read and I'm currently reading 4 books. And I'm unable to like make a lot of progress in it, so it's kind of making me feel like maybe I should just stick with one book at a time policy. Maybe, read nonfiction slowly because I like to read mostly fiction. But anyways, I have a book. My phone storage was full, so I had to delete some clips. But anyways, what was I trying to say? I don't know. I just got some books, and I wanted to show you my book haul. All of them are classics. I believe this one is also, yeah, it's a classic. So all of them are classics, and one of them is a nonfiction. I'm very excited to talk about them. So the first book I got is Psychology by William James. William James is one of the pioneering and the prominent figure in psychology. I don't want to sound like a loser, but I think he was involved in structuralism or functionalism. It was functionalism, I think. Yeah. I'm sorry, this is the reason that I want to read his work because even if it's some outdated information or theory that we are studying for the sake of understanding the history of psychology, I feel like whatever information that we're getting, especially as we're studying it at some academic institution, we are just getting secondary information. And I understand that his work could be outdated and whatnot, but having the strong foundation is so much important because I feel like there's so much lack of reading deeper literature, especially on psychology of these books, deeper work or like, the basic foundations in the academics that it's very sad because, I only have the secondary knowledge and I don't want to borrow secondary knowledge. I want to go to the source and try to understand it myself. Even though I'm doing a very bad job at it because I don't pick up these books because they exhaust me a lot. But it's fine. I will be taking my time with it and self-studying psychology for life now. Hopefully I'll be able to find a job before that though. Having my evening tea. Why am I feeling so chill today? Like I'm not nervous about being in front of the camera. Like I want to yap right now. Oh, is that a good sign? I think it is. I could not believe that I found this in the bookstore. I found Mishima. Like, are you kidding me? Obviously, it was not that cheap, but still, it was half the price that is online. Okay, I'll stop overreacting, but this is The Sailor Who Fell from Grace with the Sea by Mishima. Where's his full name? Yukio Mishima. And I have. Wait, he was from a samurai family? Damn. I've heard that this is the great entry point for Mishima and the way he writes, so I'm very excited. This is about a band of savage 13-year-old boys who reject the adult world as illusionary, hypocritical, and sentimental. I agree with the hypocritical though. I don't really know about illusionary. Illusory? Illusionary? Oh my god, I can't read. Anyways, when the mother of one of them begins an affair with a ship's officer, he and his friends idolize the man at first, but it is not long before they conclude that he is in fact soft and romantic. They regard this disillusionment, I can't English. They regard this disillusionment as an act of betrayal on his part. Their retribution is deliberate and horrifying. Oh my god, they hate romance. Just kidding. Edgy teenagers. Yeah. So I already have a copy of this book, but I still got it. I don't know from which time this edition is from, but inside it's stamped as 1961. Can you see it? It's quite old. This is A Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway. I might give away my copy that I have. This may just fall apart honestly, so I don't want to damage it. So I don't want to damage it too much, but I would like to annotate it. I'm so happy for this edition. It's so cute. It says that it's 2 by 6 feet and abridged. I don't know what that means. And honestly, I like to get these types of books so much because they feel like inheritance of humanity to me. Like someone previously owned it, and that was I don't know how many years ago. And that was like more than 6 years ago. 60? Yeah, I think. Anyway, this is going to be my treasure, like my inheritance. And so maybe in the future, my children will be inheriting this book from me, or maybe just cremate it with myself. Okay, the other day I was thinking that the day I die, I might just use books instead of, words to cremate myself. I don't want these books to be owned by anyone. That's so selfish, right? But the thing is that I have never owned anything very important to me since childhood, and it's only now that I kind of feel like I'm healing my inner child by getting all these books and reading them, and just thinking about them makes me so happy because they give me so much meaning. Anyways, the next book I have is Ivanhoe. It's as good as a new copy, and it was cheaper, so this is about, let's see. Scott's noble knight, brave Ivanhoe, returns home from the Crusades to claim Ravenna, an Anglo-Saxon princess, to be his bride. Okay. Before long, he is embroiled in the struggle between Prince John and his brother, Richard the Lionheart, who has returned incognito and enlisted the aid of Robin Hood and his merry men to win back the throne of England. Interesting. Like, I don't know what this book is really about, but there was this review which kind of said that reading this book felt like anything is possible or something like that. And I really need hope right now. The next book I have is The Age of Innocence. When I saw this book, I was so happy because I read a book review from one of my mutual on Bookstagram, and I really like her book taste. So I decided to get this book. I have no idea what this book is about, to be honest. Let Archer, a successful and charming young lawyer, conducts himself by the rules and standards of the polite, upper-class New York society that he resides in. Happily engaged to the pretty and conventional May Volland, his attachment guarantees his place in the rigid world of the elite. However, the arrival of May's cousin, the exotic, beautiful European Countess Olenska, throws Newland's life upside down. Comedic, subtle, and cynical in style, Wharton paints an evocative picture of a man torn between his passion and his obligation. Let's see what this guy will choose though. Next book I got is The Water Babies, and I got it just out of curiosity. And this is the thing which happens at the bookstore, right? That you don't really plan to buy anything, but then you end up buying 6 books. Yeah, it happens. I have no idea what Water Babies is or whatever is going on. I mean, literally the back says, in fact, the fairies had turned him into a water baby. A water baby? You never heard of a water baby? Perhaps not. This is the very reason why this story was written. And I need to know why this book was written. So this is about poor Tom. He's an orphan employed by the underhand Grimes as a chimney sweep. While cleaning a chimney one day, Tom becomes lost and appears in Ellie's bedroom. She mistakes him for a thief, and he flees in fright down to the edge of a stream where he falls asleep. In his dreamlike world, he becomes a water baby, swimming with the other water babies and discovering an aquatic playground full of strange and wonderful characters. Is it a fairy tale? I have not heard of this book anywhere, but I saw this being there. There was like 4 copies of this book, and I was just curious because I have been seeing this book in that bookstore for months. So I was so happy to see this being there because when I heard its review, I wanted to really read it. What? Dubliners. This is Dubliners. It's about the Irish society in the early 20th century. As it challenged the prevailing image of Dublin at the time, a group portrayed made up of 15 short stories about the inhabitants of Joy's native city, Dubliners, is a subtle critique of the town imbued with an underlying tone of tragedy. Through this various characters, Joyce displays the complicated relationships, hardships, and mundane details of everyday life and the desire for escape, a yearning that so closely mirrored his own experiences. I'm very much invested. Hold it like this. Okay. No worries, I have strong shoulders. So these are all the books I got, and I'm very happy with them. They're my babies. I mean, they're my number 2 babies because my number 1 babies are. No, they're number 3. No, I can't like rank them, to be honest. I love my cats, and both of them are not here. They have been playing around. Let me see if one of them is here. Mama? Bitty? Do. Yeah, she's just here. Callie's here. Mama! You're cute. Oh, we have another one. I just finished filming for some short form videos. That's why I look a bit get together. Look like put together. Yeah, not get together. So, anyways, I have some reading updates. I was reading 4 books previously where I finished 2 of them, but I am back with reading 4 books yet again, which I don't really want to do because it stresses me out. So I have decided to first finish volume 4 of Heaven Official's Blessing. I'm currently on page number 182, so hopefully I'll be able to make some progress in this one. So I decided to cover it like this because putting those risky post-it notes were not doing it, and they could have like slipped away anytime, and I literally wrote volume 4. Here we are encountering this loophole in the heavenly realm, like when it comes to ascension. And it's so fascinating because heavenly realm seems like this place where, you know, it's strict, it's bound by rules, regulation, and the gods are literally perfect. But then they also have their arrogance and all that stuff. So it's interesting to see how one of the character has been involved in breaking the rule, and because of that, a lot of things are going on. The adventure part is so fantastic. We are literally in the ocean right now in the book. While things are very serious, I just love how Shulian and Huacheng are just flirting with each other like throughout the book. Like they are so unserious and I love it. So this is the book that I will be completing first, and then I want to finish the non-fiction book I'm reading, A Brief History of the Universe and Our Place in It. I kind of see the themes of, you know, when it comes to us humans seeking the truth, we often just never get to the truth at all. Okay, for example, when Newton came up with his theories, it was revolutionary, but when Einstein came, his theories were kind of discarded, even though like some of his theories you apply to physics, but with astronomy there's much more than that. Honestly, this is about the evolution of how we think, you know, how we grow, because no idea sticks together for a very long time, and it depends on how these ideas are evolving. The old view, according to the Newton view of time and space, was that time was universal, it was constant, and it is flowing the same everywhere. But when Einstein came up with his idea, or with his theory, got to know that time is not absolute. It depends on speed and gravity. Time seemed this untouchable thing, but we actually got the clue, even though it's still kind of untouchable. The old view of space was also something like the time. It is fixed, absolute, like a giant unmoving stage. But the new view is that space can bend, stretch, and it is a curve. And it's not a fixed thing at all, which is so fascinating to learn. It may seem like, yeah, Newton was wrong all this time. I actually no. He was the one who gave us the foundation. All of the past theories and all of the discoveries from the past have been just foundation for the new theories. And Newton himself once said in the book, I can't find it. And Newton himself once said that, I do not know what I may appear to the world, but to myself I seem to have been only like a boy playing on the sea, on the seashore. I can't. Playing on the seashore and diverting myself in now and then finding a smooth pebble or a prettier shell than ordinary, whilst the great ocean of truth lay all undiscovered before me. I think I might cry. I think I might, because it's the beauty of human beings, and it's the nature of change. Why am I crying? It's so beautiful to me because it's the nature of change and growth that we adapt. Like, we start from this place that looks so wrong, but let's go with we start from here and then we go like this. Okay, I don't even make sense right now, but I'm very excited to finish reading this. And wow, I can't believe I just randomly started crying. This is something that I'm very passionate about, and I'm also very much optimistic about these things too, so I'm just having the greatest time. I'm so glad I picked it up, even though my criticism still stands. It being too westernized. So yeah, I guess that's all for the reading updates I have. Hopefully I'll be able to edit all this and not be lazy with it, because hopefully I'll be able to finish. I finished reading this book. I'll give you my updates tomorrow. I'm gonna sleep. So somebody finally has a mic, and I'm just so excited to do more yapping because now I can just move around and talk, because whenever I'm talking, I'm not just expressing myself verbally but also physically. What was that? But this is so cool. Like, आज की ताज़ा खबर में स्नेहा को mic मिला. Alright, so I have some reading updates and I'm already sweating a lot. Is that hair? No. So out of the 4 books that I have been reading, I was able to finish 2 books, and one of them was the volume 4 of Heaven Official's Blessing. I really enjoyed this book. The plot twists were amazing, and the arc itself was so fascinating, as it was able to show the actual strength of the series. Blackwater arc was really able to get into the nuances of the series. So the idea is that, when humans ascend, they become gods, and when they fall, they become ghosts. And through that, the story is symbolically trying to understand human nature itself. Through Blackwater arc, you can really see how gods and ghosts themselves still remain so human in nature. Like, even if a god is ascending to godhood, they still have their own desires or their own selfishness, while the ghost, they still carry the pain that they have suffered when they were humans. What is this? This arc really shows how love, grief, and desperation can lead humans to make the most terrifying choices morally. So here, one of the gods exchanges his brother's ill fate with someone else's, and that someone else eventually becomes a ghost when he was supposed to actually ascend to be a god. And these are like individuals who have the potentiality of becoming god, and if you kind of interfere with their faith, it's actually a huge crime because here you're playing around with the balance of the world. And honestly, it's a very questionable thing he did because someone else had to lead a life with unimaginable suffering. And the thing is that this person, despite he suffers the most, he never simply submits to fate itself. And you can see that this is because of his quality of becoming a god. I think that stayed with me a lot, even though he became a ghost later on. And yet, when he was human, he was someone who refused to be consumed by the cruelty of the world. But when he realizes what exactly happened, he's just consumed by vengeance and such grief. And to be very honest, I will literally do the same as the god if my brother had to go through something like that. The thing is that here you cannot have a simple disagreement or agreement about morality, which is able to show human nature or the complexity of it so freaking well. This is why the arc was so deeply human and tragic at the same time. And honestly, Hwacheong and Sholan were still so unserious. They were flirting around and I was just loving it. Then we had another plot twist around the end, which was another excitement. I was laughing, I was crying, and I had such a good time reading this book. I cannot wait to continue it. And today I'm supposed to be getting my volume 7, so I will be able to binge the whole series soon. But before that, I would like to finish the 2 books that I'm currently reading. The other book I finished was A Brief History of the Universe and Our Place in It. This book approaches science and the history of science through the perspective of humans being profoundly philosophical creatures or a species who seeks storytelling, and I absolutely agree with that. I feel like facts don't really teach us anything, but storytelling does. When we use these facts or these moral lessons or whatever through stories, I feel like humans understand it more. And science itself is so human in nature because it was not born out of this cold-heartedness or detachment, but from human hope and curiosity. It was born out of the desire of humans to understand their reality, to understand the truth, which is just so beautiful to me. And that's kind of the reason why I feel like crying, because human curiosity is something that I absolutely adore, and I just resonate with it so much because I just want to know what's going on, like what's happening, why are we the way we are, how is this cooler was made, how is this mic was made. Like I'm curious about every single thing. I'm trying to explore my answers. I was someone who thought maybe science is literally not for me, but this book made it so accessible. I was just not learning about the history of science, but also the history of humanity itself. And the reason why I say that science resembles humans so much is because throughout the scientific discoveries that we have made, humans have to keep questioning their own beliefs again and again. They had to question the certainty that they're trying to go for. Each new discovery leads to dismantling of the previous belief, and it's just so human in nature. Like when we are young, we perceive the world in a certain way, but then later on we realize that reality is completely different. For example, dark matter exists, yet we don't understand what exactly it is. Quantum mechanics cannot actually predict reality. It can just give us the probabilities or possibilities, and it's literally the same with psychologists too. Here we can only predict human behavior at a certain degree after understanding whatever experiences or the invisible things which have influenced people. But we cannot really predict the exact precise behavior because human beings are driven by their own free will and the perspective on life that they have. How some people tend to be optimistic, some tend to be pessimistic, and it just depends on each individual. I think that's the beauty of human beings, because we're so different from each other, but at the same time we share so much similarities too. We literally have galaxies who move through our space, but we cannot really see it. Human beings are also shaped by invisible things like our memories, fear, desire, trauma, the unconscious mind. As science itself became so complex in nature, and human beings too are this complex. As science and exploration of the universe itself is literally us trying to tell a greater story. Even if we don't have a huge role to play in it, we still want to understand how things started and how things are going to end. And at the same time, I do think that this book was not free of bias, which makes sense because no human being is without bias. And if someone says that they're not biased, they're lying to you. Believe me. But the thing is that It's not about being the correct person or being the wrong person or being the morally superior person. It's about that we are human beings with complexity. In the beginning, I thought that this book is going to follow a very Western lineage, but then I saw that this author just provides a non-Western perspective, and yet there was no mention of other non-Western perspectives like the Indian ones. Maybe it's just, my recent anxiety around the anti-India hate or the racism, which is being, weirdly normalized, is kind of playing a role in it. That's the thing. I'm a biased person, so when I see the hate towards Indians, I feel hurt. And how can you not feel hurt? So the whole absence kind of bothered me. It's still fine, but still, I feel like we should be mentioned in the global narrative. Like, we are now in 2026. Every perspective, especially the non-Western perspective, need to be told, and we have to be included in the global narrative, because Indians are being stereotyped all the time when our culture is being stolen. The most frustrating part was that the Western world talks about, how we should not be racist and all that stuff, but they are the biggest hypocrites I have ever seen. This is kind of the art that they made when they talked about our Indian mission Mangalyaan. When we succeeded, this is the kind of cartoons that they made of us, which is stereotypical racism against Indians. Anyways, I'll have to stop yapping now. So I'm going to continue with Taiwan travelogues and I'll update you. Bye!